In this episode, I'm going to continue the conversation about what I call the legitimate need. That is, the need in each of our lives for healthy, personal, intimate relationships. Sometimes as a single person, we just wish the need would go away. Boy, if I didn't have this need, I'd feel so much better. The reality is, it's how we're created. We're created to meet that need and have that need met. Interesting study just came out that focused on it's called the Grant study. It was done at Harvard University. It followed 168 men for 72 years. And I was so fascinated by this study. Actually, it followed 268 men for 72 years. It was really a study on happiness. What are the keys to happiness? And this was the conclusion, that the only thing that really matters in life are your relationships with people. So all that does is validate the fact that we do have the need for intimate, close relationships. In the last episode, I talked about what are some of the unhealthy ways that we can often be tempted to respond to the need. But now I want to talk about what I found to be a couple really healthy ways to respond to the very legitimate need. The first thing I want to mention is to really put the need in its rightful place. Admit the need. Be honest with it. Yes, I have a need. People would say to me all the time in my single years, well, do you really want to get married, or do you want to have a relationship, or why aren't you married? Don't we love that classic question? People will say, well, you're attractive and you've got this going. What's wrong? Why don't you have someone? And I learned that what helped me was just to be honest. You know, I really do want to be married. I'm not sure why it hasn't happened yet, but I also know that it's not the only need in my life. And that's really my step number one, is put the need in its rightful place. Admit the fact that this is not going to be a centerpiece, or decide to have the fact that this is not going to be a centerpiece need of my life. I refuse to make this the only focus I have. Everything in my life revolved around finding the right relationship. There's so much of life to be lived, and being single can be a wonderful season in our lives to go do our other dreams. And that's really my number two hint in a healthy way to respond to the need, which is live your other dreams. Go do those dreams that you probably aren't going to be able to do when you're married or when you're finally committed in a long-term relationship. For me, that meant travel. I love to travel, and so I would take friends or take my mom with me on business trips and enjoy the cities and see the sights, things that I have very little time to do now that I'm married. Really decide that, you know, I have this dream, but I have other dreams too. Being a dream-filled, hope-filled person is the most attractive quality you can ever have in your life. It attracts men and women and the right people full of their own dreams into our paths, and nothing is more fulfilling than to be around people full of dreams who are actively and purposefully pursuing those dreams. And then the last hint is really just decide that you're never going to compromise. That's a decision I made early on. I decided, okay, I really want to be married. I want to have a great relationship, but I know what kind of relationship that has to be for me. I know the qualities, the characteristics, the type of person that I want in a husband, and I am unwilling to settle for less. Sure, there were times when I wondered, am I too picky? Am I just wanting something that doesn't even exist? Unfortunately, I just decided, you know what, the alternative is not worth it. I don't want to trade great singleness for okay marriage. I want the best. And as I've shared before in my story, I got what I think is the ultimate best husband ever. But I had to make a choice. I was not going to compromise. Sometimes that's hard, but one thing that really helped me was being around other people who were making the same choice. Not willing to just take any relationship, any guy that's willing to take me out, and God forbid, sleeping around and giving myself away, heart, body, and soul, only to be left wanting and to be left feeling stolen from. That was never going to work for me. I don't think it works for anybody. It doesn't work for the human heart. The human heart is made to hold out for the greatest, sweetest, richest gifts. And that's what you can have if you make that decision that I'm not going to compromise. So I hope these hints have helped you. I'd love to hear what are some of your strategies, what are some of your frustrations, things that you've been through. You can watch this video and leave a comment, leave a question, or give us some answers that you found to be helpful. I'm cheering you on, I'm supporting you 100%, and let's keep living great life as singles in the city.